Okay.
Okay, you ready?
This week on the Summer Tapes for case number 1, we will be discussing the Book of Miracles.
The Book of Mormon.
The
What's
Book of Miracles. So,
Never heard of that.
so first I want to shout out a couple places. I want to shout out openculture.com, theguardian.com, and the New York Times for covering this case.
Wow.
I watched a YouTube video about this last week, and I was like, wow, this would be such an awesome case to do on the show, but it's too short. So
wow, the world said, here you go.
I found the perfect place to do it. But I will get into it. So let's see here. Okay. So when we speak of a lost art, we do not always mean that humans have forgotten certain production methods. Modern craftspeople can recover or reasonably approximate old techniques and materials, and produce artifacts that can be passed off as authentic by the unscrupulous. The spirit of the thing, however, can never be recovered. Try as they might, scholars and conservators will never be able to enter the mind of a medieval scribe or a manuscript of an illuminator. Their social world has disappeared into a distant mist. We can only dimly guess at what their lives were like. Thus, for many years, the reception of Hieronymus Bosch, the bizarre fantasist from the Netherlands whose visions of earth, heaven, and hell have amused and terrified viewers, stressed the proto-surrealism of his work, assuming he must have had other intentions than protolization. So, basically, this is a book that is... So it's called The Book of Miracles, and it was written in about the Germany in the 16th century. And it is a prequel to the Book of Revelation.
Oh, God.
So
darkness. Pure darkness is what you're telling me.
So basically, we'll get into, like, each little thing that happened, but the miracles are usually all, like, terrifying, like, punishments onto, like, the world, because God said he would punish the world with his, like, miracles.
Oh, no.
And according to a lot of people in the 16th century, there is, like, documentation that this stuff happened. But it's, like, crazy stuff. So...
I'm scared.
So, like, historians, like, have literally been, like... I mean, it sounds really bizarre, and there's, like, no way that could actually happen. But we also weren't there, so I can't really prove or deny if it did. So...
Okay, so it's real, is what you're telling me. Within reason, depending on what you're about to share.
Yeah. Like, some of the stuff that's happened is just like, what are you talking about? But all these pictures, they have settled on a name, because it's a bunch of illustrations that were made by this artist. And they settled on the name of the Book of Miracles.
Okay.
The date that they have for when it was made was about 1552, so 16th century.
So she's elderly.
Yeah.
She's old.
She's an old one.
She's
but
an old
when
girl.
I was talking about my roommates with this, this is also really fun because it's the 16th century, and everything from, like, 16th to, like, 18th century is so, like, a lot of hysteria.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
we talked about that
like
last
the dancing
week.
plague. Wasn't that in that
Yeah,
whole realm?
just, like, everything has to do with, like, Satan or, like, God is showing our wrath on the
Yeah,
earth.
there's witches. There's, like...
Yeah.
I can imagine all the darkness back then.
Yeah, no, exactly. So they kind of break it up a little bit into a few different places. So they break it up into the Old Testament. So they, like, show a bunch of different illustrations from the Old Testament. And then there's a middle section, which is called the Miraculous Signs, which, according to a lot of people in France at this time, they said they saw these things happen.
Oh, no.
They were like, this happened.
Okay, I've got some witnesses.
And then they talk about the Book of Revelation in here.
Okay.
So I'm going to... So there are a lot of pictures in here, but I'm going to kind of, like, describe them in detail for our audience.
Yeah.
And if they want to look up the Book of Miracles, they can see that as well. So, all right. So for the Old Testament, we have this illustration from Noah's Ark of the first flood.
Oh.
So kind of like... it's very interesting because they make the ark kind of look like a temple, almost like it was a sacred place, which I think is a very interesting.
Is that really small? Like, from what I'm seeing, is it just like a small little temple in the middle of the water, or is the water
I feel like they're trying to like show like scale of like a giant amount of water.
Okay.
You know, like the ark looks small in comparison because it's so wide. And it like if you really look at it, it is kind of like a very beautiful illustration.
It is. It's also very ominous for people who aren't watching. It's just a bunch of people like swimming around this temple. That's supposed to be the ark, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
But it's just ominous.
And there's someone on like a seahorse here going on.
Chaos.
Are they trying to show things that didn't make it onto the ark or something?
They said,
I mean, it's possible,
they said
yeah.
Beach, but not you.
I mean, seahorses exist.
Right, guys?
Seahorses exist? Wait a second. Seahorses are real?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Fish hooks who?
Wait a minute.
I thought seahorses
There's
were
no
fake.
way. Oh my god. They're
this week we've learned seahorses are real.
So then we have the parting of the Red Sea, which is kind of shown as like a smoky little cloud, which is kind of interesting. They kind of show it being split, like it's like a giant smoke screen.
That's true.
Kind of magician-like, if you think about it.
These are cute. You should post these on our Instagram story after we post.
That's
this
what I was
episode.
wanting to do when I told you about promo pictures.
Those are cool.
Interesting.
So I'm going to like just kind of wheelhouse through these ones. So there's Jonah and the whale. Right here, we got Mr. Jonah hanging out before, you know,
before the
big
whale
dinner.
Yeah.
He's just sitting by a tree beside the water, guys. He's not in no whale yet.
Okay, and then this is Ezekiel's vision. Do you guys know about this in the Bible?
Not at all.
I can't place it.
So Ezekiel in the Bible said he saw God, and there was this like ring that was like spinning, and this is an angel that has like the head of, I believe it is a bull, a human, a leopard, and a peacock.
That's horrifying.
Nice.
Respectfully,
Very
I'm scared.
interesting choices in visions.
I always got so freaked out when I would see like interpretations of angels and stuff in the Bible because it's like stuff with like a bunch of different faces.
Yeah.
And that is so creepy.
Like ones that they're just covered in eyes.
Yeah.
You know, in those old paintings where sometimes people are like, this thing in the background looks like a UFO. They're actually like angels.
Oh, wow.
In the paintings. Like people think that they were trying to put God in the painting.
And they were like, it's this angel.
But it looks like a UFO, but that's just like how angels are supposed to look.
Yeah.
Maybe. Hear me out. What if aliens are just angels?
I mean,
point.
Yeah.
Point made.
Oh, just saying.
It's a big possibility.
It is.
Interesting. Maybe we rationalized their existence as godlike beings.
They
you
are.
know, we just like diluted them enough in our brain.
They're just
I don't know.
I told speaking of just like aliens and stuff, I told Danielle this story before I came here, but I was telling her, I remember there was this time I was at Bible study and I was like 8 years old. And we were reading the Bible, and there was just this part where they were like talking about like this foreign alien from like Mesopotamia or something like that was coming like to an area, and the one guy in our class was like, "Oh, do they mean like actually extraterrestrials because they meant alien?"
When I was little,
and when I was 8, I just like turned him and I was like, "Are you stupid?" Like in Bible class.
I was probably going to get kicked out. You should have got kicked out for that.
Well, no, my teacher was like, "Oh, well, we don't know. Like, you can interpret the Bible in so many ways." I was like, "They don't mean an extraterrestrial."
Maybe they did. Maybe they did. How do you know, Logan? Did you write the Bible?
Like, literally in the sentence, they're saying what location he came from. You're saying an alien came down, went there, and then traveled to the...
To be fair, for the longest time, even when I still read Alien, like if it's like someone from another country or something, when I'm reading Alien, my first thought is still like extraterrestrials.
Oh, absolutely.
It's never, and I will still picture people from another country as aliens if they're called aliens.
Yeah.
I can't separate that in my brain, so that kid is onto something. Biblical accuracy.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely like was like a dated term. I was like surprised to even like kind of see that in the Bible. I was like, what?
I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm like, maybe it was actual aliens.
But that's what makes this so interesting is why this like thing is called the Book of Miracles, because it's not in the Bible like at all. It's like a prerequisite to the Book of Revelations. But funny enough, Protestant Christians condemned a lot of the medieval magic that was talked about in this. They said the recurrence of miracles in the Bible meant that the Protestant reformers of the 16th century could not reject such wonders as superstitions in the way they scorned Catholic beliefs. Marina Warner writes at the New York Reviews of Books that German reformers were on high alert from the miraculous and anomalous. The 16th century Zwinglian clergyman Johann Jacob Wick filled 24 albums with reports of such wonders in broadsheets and pamphlets, seeing signs of the birth of a two-headed calf and an unfortunate flipper-handed infant. So there's, which is very interesting. Why I wanted to talk about.
I feel like
this.
I might have seen imagery for a flipper-handed infant from something. I don't know where.
Really?
Is there also a picture for that explanation too? Or,
I
don't
think
know.
there is. Yeah.
Because I feel like I might have seen that somewhere. I don't know why, but that sounds really familiar to me.
Yeah. Well, the stuff that's talked about in the Book of Miracles is just crazy. I think it's honestly crazier than Revelation in my eyes.
Chaos.
But that's what makes it so interesting is that this person is talking about how there's literally people who went on record saying, I saw these things happen, and it is, like, you could probably find these public records somewhere.
Wow.
But it's just, like, crazy to think about. Like, did he actually see, like, a two-headed calf get born? To us, that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like, the scientists can't say it didn't happen, because they don't have proof to neither deny or
It's just
approve
weird.
it.
I don't know why we don't see more stuff like that, honestly, like two-headed calves and things, because there's, like, twins who, like, are born attached to each other, and there's people born with, like, several extra fingers and things like that, but I feel like you never really see, like, animals with more than one head or something. Like, what's up with that?
I think it's, like, very slight, and even then it's kind of, like, cryptic stuff. Like, it's a lot of clickbait articles
Yeah.
of, like, did not actually
What do
happen.
animals have that we don't? Why aren't they doing that as well? You know? I feel like it's very common in humans. Not very common, but way more common than an animal.
Yeah.
You're right.
Weird.
So, we're gonna now get into the Book of Miracles, like the actual, like, book of, like, what these people in the 16th century said they saw.
The Book of Miracles.
So, miracle number 1 is, okay. So, first thing that happens, it's, like, pretty tame. It just hails. These people are out at, like, a little dinner, and it just starts hailing. That's the first sign of this.
Okay.
Super believable. Just,
It's
you
just
know,
hail.
it's hail.
Unless.
It's hail.
It's
Unless.
hail. Unless it's not.
But then we move on to the next thing that happens after the hail, which is a rain of blood and flesh flying from the sky.
Every time I've ever heard that, I'm like, I would simply throw up. I'd simply pass out.
The one that gets me is flesh.
Flesh.
Not just
Yes.
blood, but flesh.
Ew.
Flesh is probably one of the most disgusting words. Nick's
really is.
words.
It's so gross. Also, just
Flesh.
looking at that image, if you guys end up looking it up, you can literally see the little chunks of flesh in the
Oh.
rain.
But it looks just like little red brushstrokes.
I know it's not. I know it's flesh.
Your brain can't, like, compartmentalize.
I'm like, that's someone's, like, kidney or something floating down the sky. That's actually disgusting.
Oh
Ew.
my gosh.
Why is there, like, the middle part's just plain? It's, like, normal skies.
It is wild. What
That's
was the next
so
one?
gross. That poor city.
Oh, this one's my favorite. They said they saw 5 suns come down from the sky.
Oh my
Gerber,
god.
With, like-
Gerber
What-
babies.
yeah, why
No.
they look like the suns from,
What is it?
what is that show? The,
Teletubbies?
Teletubbies.
There's 5 Teletubby sun heads
Yeah.
in the sky.
That's literally what
That's
it
so
looks like.
ominous. Did they see faces in them actually, or they just saw 5 suns? Because either way, that's really scary.
I think it's like a mixture of, like, both. I've, like, from the articles I've seen, since it is such, like, 16th century thing, it's like this person said this, but this person also said that. So there's some accounts that people just saw, like, fiery 5 suns coming down and just, like, burning them, but then also,
UFOs?
like,
Question mark?
huh?
UFOs? Question mark?
UFOs.
Oh, you know what? That's like a... It always comes back to
It's
aliens,
always the
doesn't it?
aliens.
I feel like I'm the aliens guy.
That's
on this,
okay.
You know,
You
you're
should
the
be.
guy on the History Channel or whatever that was always like, aliens.
That's you.
I guess that's me today.
That's you. But also, looking at that, I can also imagine maybe some people did see faces. If they were staring into the sun long enough, I'm sure you'd see something.
That's true.
That's all I'm gonna say. But, like,
Yeah.
seeing 5 suns, I think it was the end of times. Personally, I'd be really horrified.
Absolutely.
But happen, yeah.
So the next two that are in here, I think is very possible did happen because there is documentations of it. So this one I thought was interesting. The next thing they said they saw was like a giant red comet like coming down into the world.
Scary, but the artistry is really pretty in this
right?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But the thing is, comets are a thing.
Yeah.
Like
Real.
they're not real. But like according to this, scientists think at least that probably during this time period there was a lot of comets that we're being able to see because we didn't have like skyscrapers or electricity,
or
things like that.
with
Like
the
you can
ozone
see
layer.
light much easier.
We weren't a broken universe. Is the ozone layer like real goofed up right now?
And then
all that stuff up there, we're not seeing nothing.
And then the next one that they believe is factual as well is the eruption of Mount Vivassus.
Ooh.
They believe this eruption had happened before, so it's like an eruption of like this big volcano.
What year was that one? The one of the movie? You know what I'm talking about?
What?
Pompeii.
Is this supposed to be like Pompeii vibes?
That's like
8 or something.
8?
The year
That's in
8.
the year 8.
8 BC.
Hold on, let me look it up.
I want to see. Maybe
We're Googling.
I'm like, I just want to see if I can find the examples that these are from. But either way,
Oh,
I'm
it's
sure
79.
it's not the
AD.
year 8.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh. I want to see a volcano, but obviously when it's not erupting, you know?
What?
Obviously.
Hawaii.
Hawaii. Let's go.
Alright, so those are like the pretty like normal like
Normal.
ones. Well, you know, like I could think, oh, a volcanic
Who
eruption.
hasn't seen some blood and flesh?
Ooh,
Right?
hasn't
Yeah.
seen it. Been there, done that.
This one's my favorite because like the beginning of the Book of Mirrors is just so like slow. Like they soften you into it. Like it's just
It's just
some blood rain,
some
some
flesh.
hail. The next thing they say that happens that people saw factual evidence for is that they saw a 7-headed sea beast come from the sea and roam the world.
Is this Dragon Tales? Why is it actually cute? I mean, I'd be scared if that thing was running towards me.
It's kind of cute, right?
cute.
I'm kind of scared, but
She's
I like
kind of
it.
the cutie pie.
She's a little cutie pie.
But yeah, it kind of has like different like shapes of like different animals on its head, which a lot of like multi-headed creatures in that time are depicted
Does
as.
it got like peacock wings? I can't really see. It kind of has pretty wings.
Kinda. I mean, it's got furry legs behind it.
It's got like a snake tail. You gotta look this up, guys. This is really freaking me out.
And then this is my favorite, monstrous birth.
Ew.
That's what you were talking about.
I know.
This is like a kid with like it's a baby with 2 heads, but it's got like 8 butts, 8 legs, and 4 arms.
Not 8 butts.
That's 8, right? 1,
Well-
2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's 6 butts.
But no,
geez.
it has 3 butts because it's 2 cheeks per.
Where maybe I don't
It's
know,
got
but it
6
only has
cheeks.
2 heads.
6
So where did it get the
cheeks,
other
yes.
pair of butts from?
Look at all its shoulder muscle things. Ew.
When I was looking at this thing kind of looked like me with the hair. I was
Logan,
like, that's
no, it
me
does
a bit.
not.
No, it
That
does
looks
not.
really scary. His face, that's something that'd run at you in the nightmares.
After I was doing this case, I like got this like paranoia feel of like this thing's gonna run at me. Like
No,
I'm
its
gonna run
eyes-
into it.
It's lifeless. Its eyes are lifeless.
Imagine you just saw this walking around and just starts charging at you.
I think it was the apocalypse. If I think him running at me,
Yeah.
these people are seeing that.
Yeah.
No wonder they thought it was the end of times.
Well, yeah, because like that's like the thing in like Christianity was like it was told that there would be like miracles that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the last thing I'll show of this time period. There's like this giant hailstorm that happens, but it's like icebergs, like giant things of ice just slamming down.
That could destroy a city.
Well, there's again like ideas of documentation that giant things of ice like that had destroyed cities.
That's
But
scary. Ew.
We don't have that now. We have hail, but we don't have giant ice cubes basically doing things like
Ew.
that.
I'm just gonna live in a sunny place. I hope nothing like that comes back.
But
Ew.
yeah, so that's kind of pretty much a rundown of that stuff. And then they kind of go into like the Book of Revelation a little bit and the stuff in that, and that could be a whole episode
Revelation.
in itself. That book
That'll give
is
real nightmares
wild.
there.
Oh, actually, this is the last thing I forgot to show.
Yeah.
This is the one I wanted to show as well. So there is also this account that people saw this giant baby in the sky.
Ew.
fighting these horsemen. Like, people were looking up at the sky and thought they saw this, like, giant creature. Like,
That's
fighting.
real trippy. For people who aren't looking at this photo, it's like a huge body of water. There's like a city, creepy baby with a sword,
Yeah.
pointing the sword at all these horses with people on them.
According to,
towards
like,
it.
the Christian documentary, they think, like, this is, like, kind of, like, was an angel they saw that was, like, protecting them in the
Okay.
heavens.
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons I want to do this case, too, because, like, it's just the idea of a giant red baby in the sky fighting a war. It's like, I can't say that did happen, but I can't say it didn't either.
How are people seeing this? They got like some rickety plane in the sky, and they're like, "Look to the left, you'll see this."
Well, they probably were, like, looking up, and they were like, oh, wow.
I saw down this guy.
That reminds me of the allegory of the cave. Did you ever hear that?
No.
No, it's not.
Okay, there's a. It's I'm going to explain this badly, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So essentially, there's these people that are stuck in this cave, and the only way that they have any idea of what's out there is by shadows that appear on the wall. And then one person finds a way to escape this cave, and they go behind, or they go to a different part of the cave, and they realize that other people are keeping them there, and then projecting these shadows on the wall for them to just look at and believe.
Oh.
So, like, their whole world is only defined by what they can see on the wall.
That's
Oh.
So,
creepy.
It's the allegory of the cave. Like, you only can believe
Okay.
what people show you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
that's what that reminds me of.
I
'Cause
mean,
it's like,
Yeah.
giant.
I
things
think
in the
that's a
sky.
really good idea, because these, like, paintings were made also in, like, the 16th century. So, you know, at the same time, it's like, if you can't take pictures and all you have is illustrations, you're gonna think the painting you're seeing, like, is
Is the truth.
factual,
Yeah.
is true.
Also, have you seen those that are like somewhat accurate to like right now? People are like holding like things shaped like cell phones, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's predicting the future." Have you seen those?
Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely.
And it's real trippy and creepy.
There's a couple pictures that I've seen.
Yeah.
There's one that it's from like 1920, and a guy
Oh.
looks like he's from like 2013.
Yes.
With the outfit and everything.
And it has an
They were
iPhone or
like,
something.
yeah, it's real. We don't know how this guy
Time
is this.
travel.
Yeah.
It's time travel.
But yeah, that's kind of everything I have to show for that. What do you guys think?
I think it's amazing. I like kind of want to look into this book because I just want to see why it was created. Who like did they contact these people to be like, okay, who saw what? Let's get an accurate.
Let's get an accurate idea of it.
Yeah, like that's so weird. Just the fact that people have claimed to see all that stuff really weirds me out. Too real.
Yeah, if you want to look into it more, and if anyone listening wants to, there is a YouTuber named I'll leave the link down below as well, but it's spelled Hochalaga. He's a YouTuber, and he did the video that I watched that inspired me to do this, and it was a very, very fun summary of just everything that happened then. So yeah.
Yay.
So the things that you showed us, did you say that they were like another artist did those pictures that you showed us, like based on the manuscript? Was it Hieronymus
it was
Bosch?
one artist that did all of those illustrations, but they're from documentations of
Okay.
like what people really said they saw. So he was trying to like mark history,
Oh, okay.
even though he may have not seen them himself.
Okay.
Those are really cool.
Interesting.
Either way, that stuff with all those heads and
The baby with the heads.
the baby with
Yeah,
the heads and
That's the one.
the blood rain.
Well, that's why it's so interesting, because it's like religion, it's supernatural. It could technically count as like maybe not
Yeah.
true crime, but it's like it
Yeah.
like I said, it was like scientists were literally like, I can't say it didn't happen.
Well, it really depends on what that baby did. I'm just saying, what if it went and just has the sword? It's killing something. Right?
It sees someone trying to like make a document about it, and it's like cutting it up like a shredder.
It's a true crime. Hey, this little baby sword.
But yeah,
Cute.
I guess that means the Book of Miracles will
Yes.
remain a mystery.
Yes, it-